By the time they'd eaten enough to replenish their energy and taken a long and not just to get clean shower, both men were exhausted. They dropped into bed, immediately rolled toward each other, tangled their bodies together, and fell asleep. Zev's empty stomach eventually woke him from a deep sleep. He could feel Jonah's hand on his hip, Jonah's left knee pressed between his thighs, and Jonah's right leg draped over his calf. He dipped his head and kissed the top of that blonde head, and Jonah's hand immediately moved over his body and started caressing his chest. I love sleeping with you. I've been so damn tired all these years. I couldn't ever get a decent night's sleep except when you were with me. But now it's even better. It's like my whole body can finally rest, Jonah mumbled, his words thick with sleep. Me too, Blondie. I swear. I felt like shit for so long that I'd forgotten what it was like not to hurt, Zev said as he rolled onto his back and pulled Jonah on top of him. Jonah raised his head, cupped Zev's cheek gently with his hand, and searched those amber eyes. But you're okay now, right? Your body doesn't hurt anymore? Zev nodded and smirked. Yup, I'm all better. You're a great healer, Dr. Marvel. The hand against Zev's cheek was gone for a second before it landed again, not so gently this time. Why didn't you tell me, Zev? All these years you were hurting and I was hurting. Why didn't you tell me what was going on? Zev threaded his fingers through Jonah's hair. What would you have done if I'd told you? What do you mean? I would have believed you just like I did when you told me yesterday. And then what? Zev pushed. Then I would have moved back here with you and everything would have been fine. And that right there, Blondie, is exactly why I didn't tell you. Those blonde eyebrows scrunched down in confusion. You had a goal. You wanted to be a doctor. I couldn't stand in your way, Jonah. Doesn't mean I was happy about it, especially at first. I wanted you by my side. But I had to trust that we'd be strong enough to handle the separation. And then you'd have the career you wanted. The pack would have a great healer, and I'd have my mate with me. You risked being trapped as a wolf for the rest of your life so I could finish med school? I don't know whether that's the sweetest, most honorable thing I've ever heard or the stupidest, most reckless decision of all time, Jonah said. Seriously, it's a toss-up. Zev chuckled. Well, it doesn't matter now. You're here, I'm here. Your medical degree is here, metaphorically speaking. All's well that ends well, right? Jonah buried his face in Zev's neck, inhaled deeply, as if taking in his scent, and then trembled. Yeah, you're right. I'd still like to figure things out with my mom, though. And I need to understand how it's possible for me to be half shifter if shifters can't reproduce with humans. And did you just say that I'm going to be the pack's healer? What does that mean? Zev rolled so he was on top of Jonah, pinning him down. He kissed Jonah's brow, then his nose, and smiled. You're adorable with all those questions, Zev said. Fuck you. That reply cracked Zev up. He had missed his friend so desperately over the years that having Jonah home was causing a giddy sensation all through Zev's body. He felt like he was floating. All right, I'm going to answer your questions in backwards order. I know you can get a job at the hospital and probably lots of other places too, but the pack's healer is getting up there in years and we'll need someone to replace him. Our kind can't go to human medical centers. We need one of our own to care for us. Usually, healers apprentice for years before they work independently, but you've gone to medical school, so you'll have a lot of knowledge they don't. I think you can work with Doc Carson for a little while, learn about how we're different from humans, and then you can take over. If you want to, I mean. I'd have a lot to learn about shifters. Medically speaking, it's incredible that a body can change forms. I'm itching to understand how that works and what it means from the standpoint of illnesses, injuries, life expectancies. He drew in a deep breath and continued more slowly. I guess what I'm saying is, I like the intellectual part of it, and my competitive side likes the idea of learning things my colleagues won't ever conceive of, but that's not the biggest reason the job appeals to me. What's the biggest reason?